Ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of the scene.
Yo, what the fuck is up, Warped Tour? The state of the scene at SOTS Podcast on all social media. Sam here with Marcos.
Talk Tua.
Talk shit. Don't talk Tua, won't be Tua.
Yeah, well,
don't hawk Tua, won't be Tua.
It's our competition now.
Yeah, our competition. Yeah. Did you see Talk Tua was already in the top 10 podcasts?
It's our competition, bro. That's what we're trying to be.
Yeah, but they did it in 1 month.
Wow.
Really outshine it. We really needed Anthony Fantano to pull us aside to ask us about our music opinions, only for us to say like the most embarrassing answer imaginable and like blow up on it. You know?
Listen, I'm a dreamer and I'm dreaming on.
Podcaster has worst favorite album of all time.
Inexplicably horrific top 10.
Say, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, what's your favorite album of all time?
Dying is your latest fashion by Escape the Fate. I'm being honest. It's the truth. It's never going to be fucking dethroned.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck me. We're recording early today.
We wonder why people don't listen to this show.
Yeah. This is this show's like a special secret between us and like 1,000 of our closest listeners.
Fucking God.
Yeah,
He's
God.
not happy about it.
Yeah, God. Who has definitely not turned his back on this scene. What the fuck was I saying?
We're recording early.
We're recording early. So I'm taking off for the weekend for like a little mini tiny vacation. So we're recording Thursday night. So I'm gonna need you all to do that thing where if anything cool happens on Friday, we just fucking pretend it didn't until we get back, and then we'll discuss it.
And that's when we can all start
episode.
pretending it happened.
Yeah. In which case it will have happened then.
Yeah.
But not now it hasn't.
Facts.
Yeah. Let's get right the fuck into it.
The news.
Linkin Park have announced additional dates of their From Zero World Tour in Paris, Texas, and Sao Paulo, with support from, you guessed it, Sleep Token, Bad Omens, Gene Dawson, and Helmet.
And everyone saw the Gene Dawson and the Helmet support coming, right?
Right.
From a mile away.
Right.
But to take a flyer on a couple of smaller acts like Bad Omens and Sleep Token,
Big.
Heartwarming. Probably the most heartwarming moment of 2024.
Yeah, I agree completely. Now, there's a little bit of like a caveat here where it's like, Sleep Token and Bad Omens are playing the same date. So it's important to note that.
This is one of the craziest examples of like the asterisk tour poster.
Why is that? What made it so crazy?
Like you said, like it's Sleep Token, Bad Omens, not together. Here's a circle. Here's a triangle.
There really is, like, you take out your
They're
magnifying
separated by
glass
fucking
to see
continents.
that, like, yeah. It's not fair. It really isn't fair. That, like, Linkin Park does really feel like the pinnacle of like where we've been going in terms of like the separate support based on date fucking symbol bullshit tour poster. Yeah. But like still, how fucking exciting is this? It's like not only are Linkin Park back, they're
consistently in the news.
Yeah, they're putting like all of metal, like, right, they're literally like elevating the genre back to like a level of popularity. They have 2 singles in the fucking global Spotify top 10. Do you know how fucking insane that is?
And one of them is like under 24 hours old.
Right, exactly. Like just like that, like Linkin Park just snapped right back into existence, and suddenly metal and rock is a thing that people like heavily fuck with again. Like it's crazy the power of this band. Like it's huge. Like I don't know what other acts could like put a whole fucking genre on their back like that. It's like pop, country, hip hop, like they still exist just fine all the time. It's not like somebody's got to come back to elevate those genres back into like a level of like popularity or cultural relevance. But Linkin Park, they come back around and suddenly it's like metal and rock matters again. And I'm so here for it. And
it's almost similar to what MGK did with pop punk.
It's actually kind of similar for what it's worth. It's like not exactly similar, but it's like sort of similar because I know you say it to be funny, but it's like never underestimate how important Machine Gun Kelly made fucking pop punk. Tickets to My Downfall, 4 years. I will still say easily most important pop punk record of the last 15 years.
What's your favorite record of all time, Sam?
That's right. Easily most important pop punk record of the last 15 years. I'll die on that hill over and over and over again. So what's obviously super fucking cool about this, I don't know who Gene Dawson is. I'm sorry. And like Helmet I'm familiar with. They've obviously been like a relatively popular rock band for like fucking 20 plus years at this point. Yeah. You've never heard of Helmet? They had like, they're one of these bands who it's like, I had one of their songs on my iPod. Like I definitely downloaded one of their songs legally, and had it on my iPod.
All right. No, this is cool then.
But like the fucking knighting of Sleep Token in Bad Omens is crazy because they're like easily the next up of like the rock and metal world. So for Linkin Park to be like, you guys, if you had been paying attention, rock and metal fans that just woke up from a coma a couple weeks ago, these are the bands you would have fucked with.
Right. Just when you think that these bands can't take any more W's, like here we are.
You talking about Sleep Token and Bad Omens?
Yeah,
You're right. And now they've received
better.
the ultimate W. Yeah.
And it will all fucking culminate in these two finally touring together.
This is like bigger than a Grammy
massive
for
world
me.
tour.
This is like Sleep Token win a
Fingers
Grammy.
crossed.
It's not even like as big as getting to support Linkin Park
On one date in Paris.
on one day in Paris. Marcus, FIFA 333 have canceled their upcoming tour, so vocalist Jason Allen Butler can focus on his mental health. That tour was set to kick off in October with support from Zulu, Who, Move, and more.
I mean, wasn't that tour supposed to happen in alignment with the album dropping too?
I mean, yes.
Well, that's my follow-up question to
They
you.
are like this was the tour for the brand new album.
And no word yet on whether that date is staying in place.
We're talking about
moving?
I don't think the album is going anywhere.
Okay.
I don't think the album is going anywhere. So Jason posted a reel over on Instagram, and he was just kind of talking about like he's got to take care of himself. He's like he's not mentally in the right place right now, and he could see it getting worse. And I'm like paraphrasing all of this here as best I can remember it. But for all of those reasons,
Should he
he's
go on tour?
canceling the tour?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, well, like he said, he was in a really bad state currently, so thus it is not a good time to go on a month and a half long trek across the United States of America. Obviously wish the best for Jason Allen Butler. A little sad to see this tour kind of fall apart. It was like a really neat lineup. Hugh in particular has been like a really exciting up and coming band. So seeing them immediately get slotted on like a big up and coming tour, it's a little bit of a bummer that this one kind of fell apart, but it is what it is, you know?
It's the type of thing where you hope maybe some semblance of this comes back together.
Gets repackaged
Right.
and like at least a couple of these bands end up together. Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, wishing the best for Jason. Poppy will release new album Negative Spaces on November 15th. It will feature singles New Way Out and They're All Around Us. Marcus, we talked about They're All Around Us just last week. The whole album appears, as best I can tell, to be produced by Jordan Fish.
Ooh,
Yeah.
here we
As
go.
these two songs were.
Floodgates are opening.
Poppy's also been working with Stephen Harrison of House of Protection. And I don't know if that also applies to all of the songs on here, but theoretically we could see more songs with his input as well. And I think they've so far made a pretty great three-way, all of them, with the output that they've had.
November quietly becoming stacked kind of over the last 2 weeks.
November got insane fucking stacked. This is literally the same day as Linkin Park, by the way. Poppy said, I'm not scared. Poppy said, I'm not scared.
I believe it, but also like I would be in
You'd
Poppy's
be terrified.
shoes.
You'd be
Not saying like it's a disaster moving forward with the date. I'm saying I'm not that brave. I'm not that bold.
Yeah, you would have backed down in the face of a
Yeah.
Linkin Park, sure, but Poppy, no. But you're right. It's like we were just talking about last week. It's like Chase Atlantic throwing up that album, and suddenly November's looking a little stacked.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure Make Them Suffer drops November too. So it's insane how jam packed that month is suddenly feeling with like the big hitters. It's like everybody was like just biding their time until the end of the year, in which case we're just going to get it all at once. I don't have too much more to say about this Poppy album. I think one bizarre thing about this is the releasing a single and then announcing the album a few days later drives me insane.
and I know it's like an old man yelling in a cloud type thing
I
at
know,
this point,
but
because
we have a practice here.
like we can already move on from this. We don't have to have this discussion.
Yeah, but we
it
had
would
an
feel
understanding.
stupid if we didn't. In that, like, that is the most opportune time to announce an album when you release a song. It is like tried and true classic. I'm talking fucking Elvis used to do this shit. The Beatles used to do this shit. Fucking back in the day, bro. The fucking, help me name, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, bro. Rolling Stones will go
Green
live on
Day.
YouTube. They'll be like, album coming out. We're gonna chat about the. We're gonna chat about the new
Britney
song.
Spears used to do this. We've lost sight of how we should be releasing albums and announcing them.
I don't care. I don't like fucking with the template. Just to fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like nothing
Yeah.
here was broken. This all worked. Like you dropped the new song. Even to be fair, Poppy did drop like kind of a new song to align with this announcement. But for all intents and purposes, it appears to be like an interlude or an intro or something like that. It's just sort of like a very quiet, sort of like atmospheric little tune. So yeah, Haley Williams. What's up? What's up?
Temperature on a new album already.
Super excited.
Zigzag era
Super
already
excited.
over.
Super excited. Fuck it. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, you know, I think that these two singles have been different enough from the Zig era that like I don't even feel like there's a point of comparison. You know what I mean? It's not like this one could live in the shadow of that one. They just feel drastically different already, even though I haven't heard the project in full. Haley Williams of Paramore lashed out at Donald Trump during a performance at iHeartRadio Music Festival, specifically calling out his support for Project 2025. Marcus, let me read from the script real quick. Quote, Project 2025 is Donald Trump's playbook for controlling and punishing women, poor people, people of color, and the LGBTQ plus community. It is time for all Americans to band together and to finally defeat the Trump agenda, and the only way to do that is by confronting him at the polls, end quote. She was later criticized for reading from a script, which she clarified she had written and had someone hold up for her so she could be certain she didn't mince words in delivering her important message. And in aside, in that same statement where she clarified, she mentioned that iHeart did not pay Paramore for their performance, which is like a whole separate conversation I need to have with you.
Bro, we mad about people reading scripts now. Movies are out. Fucking the news, it's out. What else? What else uses scripts? Scripts are a normal everyday thing.
I'm reading a script right now. Everything that we say on this show is I've pre-written this whole show.
The monitor's like kind of above the camera, so it always looks like we're fucking staring into the middle of nowhere. We don't quite do it like the news do it.
Those lines right there, I wrote them.
Yeah, we did.
It's always nice to see somebody use our platform for like a relatively, positive reason. I think that for all intents and purposes, the vast majority of us are absolutely fucking mentally obliterated by politics lately. But I think part of the reason of that is this continue run at the presidency that Donald Trump is making. And if Haley Williams of Paramore can help end that, then I think we could all at least put one aspect of this at rest and maybe no longer have to think about it anymore. Also, brave. I will say this, brave, because I think doing this kind of thing can push people to not have Paramore perform at events like this, because obviously they're just looking for the most wildly accepted general public performance they can possibly get. And I think strong political messaging isn't necessarily what the suits at iHeart Festival are hoping for when they book a Paramore. They just want them to be like, I'm in the business of misery, and then like get the fuck off the stage.
Shut
for
up
free.
and be in the business of misery.
Right.
Where did you pull this whole like snippet from?
What do you mean, like the exact quote?
Yeah, like it's like off of people.com
You ready?
or some shit.
No, sir. Close. Entertainment Weekly.
Entertainment Weekly. Imagine we approached news how Entertainment Weekly does, in the sense that like Williams, 35, said, speaking directly into the camera, like, bro, this new fucking Linkin Park, let me tell you about
Mike Shinoda, 46.
Mike Shinoda, 46, like dead-eye, like looking
He said
at
in
the
his
camera.
song, Heavy as the Crown.
Who?
Mike Shinoda.
46?
Yeah, that's correct.
Insane.
It is
What
weird.
does it matter?
You're right. It is. I feel like you only name the age like when they like pass away or something.
No,
you know,
you
it's like
name it-
Haley Williams, 35. Like,
Yeah, right.
right.
Or alternatively, if like you're past an age where like if you're like 80 at that point, you start to mention it because it's like everybody get ready, you know?
Right, or it's you do
Start
something
preparing.
like you have to do something where your age is fucking relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like girl 4 runs marathon or something. You know what I mean? Like then I guess this does seem relevant to the story. Like this 4-year-old's running a marathon, sure, but it's like Haley Williams being 35 has absolutely fuck all to do with anything.
Right.
I was gonna make a joke about Haley Williams dying, and then I like if
You don't even
I didn't
wanna, like-
yeah, I didn't want to
yeah.
put that energy out there. It was just like it was too scary to think about. Marcos, iHeart did not pay Paramore for their performance. iHeart's like, we're gonna get you we're gonna pay you in fuck, what is it?
In
Goddamn it, help me.
fucking-
Pay you
in
in
Hulu
help
bucks,
me out.
bro.
Yeah, Hulu bucks. No.
You get free subscription.
No, what do you exposure. We're gonna pay Paramore in fucking exposure. We're gonna pay
Paramore.
Paramore in
In
fucking exposure? Paramore in exposure? What the fuck, dog? Why? What do you mean you didn't pay
Who else-
Paramore?
What was the rest of the lineup? Who else got paid in exposure?
You want to know who paid? You want to know?
I want to know.
You want to know what fucking bands didn't have the balls to say anything about the election? Hold
Respectfully
on.
to Paramore.
iHeart Festival 2024.
Oh, okay, right.
Who didn't?
Who else didn't? Who wasn't? Who?
You know, Shabuzi,
Shabuzi didn't say anything.
Halsey, Dua Lipa, Doja Cat,
Actual Halsey.
the Black
L.
Crows,
Capital L in Halsey.
New Kids on the Block, silent. Hosey, silent. Big Sean, silent. Allegedly, I didn't watch it, so maybe
and
they
all
did
of
say
them
something.
getting
And it
paid
didn't,
in
it didn't.
exposure.
I feel like it would have made
Whack.
the news if they had, though, but it might not have crossed our space. Paid in exposure is so fucking insane. Paramore, exposure. Get fucked. Green Day's classic emo punk album, American Idiot, turned 20 years old this week. Thoughts?
None really. I'm not gonna lie.
I was in sophomore year of fucking high school when this came out. Do you know how insane that is?
Bro, and you're 50 now?
That's correct. Sam, 50. Listen to Green Day's fucking American Idiot when he was a sophomore in high school.
Actually, I take back what the shit talking I was talking about earlier, because that is how
should
we
do
talk
it?
about albums on this show
Is
now.
it? Yeah.
It's like
American Idiot 20.
27.
American Idiot 20 years old is so fucked, bro. So fucked. This was a moment when this came out. You weren't there, but it
No,
was.
it was a moment. I
you weren't
remember we were all there.
You weren't there.
For American Idiot.
Nah, let me talk to my old heads for a minute right now.
Bro, September's about to end. I know all about this. Okay.
Sit up, boys. We go. Oh, fuck.
This is technically an emo album, right? Emo punk.
That's what I decided to call it, yes, because I
Yeah.
didn't really know how to quantify it. You know what's the funniest fucking thing in the world? I feel like all this scene does all the time is talk about how like, fucking Machine Gun Kelly, Culture Vulture, coming for the pop punk. Bro, I was there. I was there when Blink-182 showed up with fucking eyeshadow, right? They didn't have that 2 years before My Chemical Romance, right? I was there when Green Day started fucking wearing all black. They didn't do that shit 2 years before My Chemical Romance. No, fuck all of you. Good Charlotte? Do you know what they used to look like? Y'all are so fucking stupid. You don't remember anything. As always, every link you need is in the description of this episode, including our socials, playlist, merch, and Discord. Subscribe to us on YouTube at SOTS Podcast YT and leave a thumbs up if you're watching the video version of this podcast. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave 5 stars. Y'all are fucking lazy,
Pathetic.
sleeping. I asked for 5 stars. I asked you to run those fucking numbers up. I asked you
Are you
for
reading
a
off a script?
thumbs up. I said a thumbs up on the fucking video version of this podcast over on YouTube. Please. We're never going to beat Talk Tua with these numbers. Dated discourse this week. Quote, I got 2 tickets and know 3 songs. Oops. This week on Twitter, user Shad went semi-viral for criticizing this comment from TikTok saying, At this point, why go? Ing. Marcos, should you be allowed to see a band live if you only know 3 songs?
Duh.
No. Obviously not.
No, I think you
You
should,
have
bro.
to prove. Ticketmaster should be like, fill in this survey. My Chemical Romance songs. You have like 10 seconds.
Project 2025. If women can't name 3 songs, they don't get to go to the concert.
Eerily close to what Project
I am
2025 is. Could you imagine being like, fuck, you don't know 3 songs by this band and you want to see them live? What are you going to do? Listen? You idiot? What are you going to do? Watch the concert and enjoy yourself?
What are you gonna
fucking
do?
stupid asshole?
Enjoy most of the songs you hear?
What are you, brain dead or something? What are you going to mouth the words you think they're going to say? Marcus, how many songs should you have to know before you see a band live? Like an average.
4.
4? I was thinking closer to like 15 to 20.
Nah.
I want you to be
Some
a
bands don't have 15 to
real
20.
fucking, well, that's
Sicko?
why nobody goes to see them live, because they can't sing along to the songs they don't know. This is a cap. If you have a max 7 songs and you know all 7 of those songs, that's like 100% completion
It's like a
rate.
percentage thing.
Yeah. But if they have like 40 songs, gotta know at least 15. Gotta. Otherwise, you're just going to be bored looking at your phone the whole time, reading lyrics. If I know over 5 songs, Marcus, when I go to see a band, should I receive special treatment from the band, like a shout out during their performance or an exclusive hug at the merch table?
Of course. So this is called main character syndrome.
Yes.
And you're entitled to having that.
Yeah.
And actually, if the band doesn't do all of those things for you,
I'm allowed to get upset and post about it on Twitter
you
later,
are.
correct?
Yes, correct.
Hello. Linkin Park's biggest fan here. I
Does anyone
know
else
most
hate
of their
Linkin Park?
songs. I was singing along to every word, but I noticed in the live recap that they didn't capture me out in the crowd singing along, which is, can we just say it's weird?
Also,
I don't know any songs to even the bands I like when I go see shows. You should see me mouthing just absolute fucking nonsense to every song.
It is.
Don't want to
It
be
crushes
alone.
my soul when I realize how like little of the lyrics I actually remember.
Absolutely fuck all lyrics, dog. I don't know anywhere. I was singing a song the other day. Absolutely. We were about to see, and we're going to talk about it later in the deluxe episode of SOTS Podcast, patreon.com/SOTS Podcast if you want to hear / watch it. Static Dress we went to see the other day, perform with Under Oath. I was singing one of their songs in the car on the way to see them. And they showed the lyrics during their live performance, and I was like, who knew? Who knew? What have I been saying this whole time? I was saying words that didn't even rhyme with the words that were supposed to be said. Oh, you're saying this is an accent
There's a
problem?
lot of slang.
How many?
That,
Hold on. How many songs should you have to know before you see a British band live?
Oh man, at least 8.
No, it's the opposite. None. It's impossible.
No.
Who knows what they're saying up there? Margos, patreon.com/SOTS Podcast. If you want to ask a question on the show, become a patron for exclusive content. Become a patron for producer credits on
I'm sorry,
all
is
of
this
our
like
video
a 20th
content.
fucking like? Are we poor?
Oh, we're poor as fuck, dog.
Wait, this is like the 14th patron. Fucking.
I don't wanna. It's weird to bring it to you live on the show, but like, it's bad out there.
It's bad. Please subscribe to Patreon. Holy shit, we don't even charge much.
We either become Talk to a 2 or this podcast is gone in like 6 weeks. Patrons also receive access to the bonus SLTS Deluxe, which is a separate episode where this week we talk about our experience at the Connecticut date of their Only Chasing Safety 20-year tour. Headlined, of course, by Under Oath with support from Static Dress and Keianashi. It was kind of weird. Patrons this week want to know. Jake S. asks, with all the Puff Daddy news being released that could potentially implicate a lot of popular music stars, can we all agree it's time to put an end to the scene being the only problematic music area? It's not like insert band that does heinous shit here. It's just a Warped Tour problem. You're right, Jake. We won. At least we're not Puff Daddy. Yay us.
Listen, the scene can't get away with being the only one because we don't have money, bro. Like
You're
that's
right. Our
the
crimes
thing.
could have been so much more heinous if we had a top 10 radio single.
No, I'm saying
This
like
Diddy shit is so insane,
like
bro.
we're the trailer fucking park of the music industry, right?
Right. So you're saying
If we were the fucking burbs, like country or like
if you've made this a class problem. It's like this scene is only
Rise
fucking
up.
heinous underachievers because we don't have the means.
this is getting too problematic. Is the problem? Shut up.
Yeah, we're like 6 days from like finding out that Puff Daddy was doing more than stock hoarding baby oil. You know what's been in the back of my mind is like people have been like posting pictures like, hey, here's so and so. They've been posting like Epstein fucking drops now where they're like, here's so and so on the plane, here's so and so on the island, here's so and so in the mansion with a fucking bottle of baby oil. It's like, y'all think Puff Daddy's going to... Did you see he refused to eat in prison because he was scared he was going to get poisoned?
Shut up.
I would be too, because like the amount of money that's probably at stake with who Puff Daddy could also and theoretically will out in like the ongoing months of whatever this trial is. Like obviously... All right, listen, obviously Epstein didn't fucking kill himself, right? And like obviously Puff Daddy didn't kill himself either, and I'm saying that preemptively. But you're right. The scene is not the only shitty place.
We won.
What a way to kick off the fucking Patron questions, bro. Let's fucking go. They're real this week.
They're
real. This shit
bro.
is real this week. For the first time ever, we're asking real questions. Jacob asks, I've been following you guys for a while now, and it's been crazy seeing some of your posts get hundreds, if not thousands, of likes/comments. You've even been featured in some major news articles and have gotten some attention from some big players in the scene. Now, do you feel like you've made it in the music space?
Hell no, bro.
Or the podcast world? How do you feel about where you are going, where you were a few years ago, and where do you hope things go from here?
Yeah, we didn't hear anything about Linkin Park, bro. We didn't know a goddamn thing. Meaning we didn't make it even close yet.
Love the content. I'm always excited to see y'all upload anything. I'm proud of you guys for how far you've come. Keep kicking ass, boys. I've got a real fucking hot and cold relationship with this, and I think it's because of the social media aspect of it, like fries your brain, right? Because it's like, if you have like one day where like your engagement is astronomically high, every day after that where it's bad makes you feel horrific. It just makes you think nobody likes me. I'm not funny anymore. Why can't I get my shit together? Why do I even fucking post on these? It's just like, it's a tragic spiral until something else hits and then that serotonin floods back, right? But I do appreciate that, like, Twitter in particular, we went from being nobody to being very popular within this space, which is surreal. Because like 5 years ago, people could give a fuck about us. And now when I post something that happens, like, we've become maybe like the point person for scene news, right? Not like breaking it.
Not
I'm not a fucking journalist, which I'll remind people.
We do tell some white lies.
Occasionally. Which I've had to stop doing because of our popularity.
Fuck you.
I'm a news
switched.
aggregator, but like when I see our engagement versus all of the people that I always wanted to be, all the fucking rock sounds and all presses and Kerangs of the world, and then I see how little people engage with, it's no shame.
And to know we're better than them?
But to see that people get excited when we share something, it is a very fulfilling feeling from, going back to the days where I would just unfollow people hoping anyone would notice us, right?
We never did that.
Do I feel like we've accomplished what we want to with the podcast? It's a really tough question. There are moments, every few months, something will happen where it's like some artist I really love will engage with us, or we'll get an opportunity that I just never would have expected, or we'll get, a lot of love on like an interview we did or something. And it really makes me feel like, you know what, if it ended today, I accomplished something. Like I I hit a point where this actually like fulfilled what I imagined it could be years and years ago. And then in the periods where that doesn't happen, I do often forget and feel like I need to keep grinding so people care and notice us. It's a very fucking tormented relationship with trying to be popular. And then do we want to be more popular? I don't know. Part of me feels like I still want to go to a show and have absolutely nobody fucking recognize me, and I will be very content with that. And the other part of me is like, why am I not popular like these other fucking podcasters and YouTuber
Say
people?
his name.
There's a lot. Well,
Fantano.
Fantano. Yeah, why am I not popular like Fantano with my fucking niche fucking culture podcast? Yeah.
I don't have much to add. I think you
You don't
covered
have
it all.
anything to add, really?
Covered all the bases, bro.
Heather asks, what band have you guys had on repeat this week?
Fumon. They're a Taiwanese rock band who just recently released an album. It's spelled Fumon, the band name, and they had a song with Colt that was my introduction to the band. Realized an album dropped around it, and it spent a fucking ridiculous amount of time with that band since. So yeah, check them out. They're kind of neat. We've probably never talked about a fucking Taiwanese rock band on this show before. So there's your fucking, that's my recommendation of the week.
You guys are not going to be happy with me. I don't have one. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I check out a music kind of hard for like a 5-day period after we record, and then like suddenly I have to like lock the fuck in for like 24 hours before we record. So for me, it's been a lot of Rain City Drive, which we're obviously reviewing later in this episode. But outside of that, I get deep in my fucking podcast and like streamers and stuff like that, and then I'm like in a fucking haze of that when suddenly like I snap back into like fucking game mode and it's scene time, with the exception of like whatever comes out that I have to share on social media or whatever. Caillou asks, who's the most underrated band right now in terms of you could see a massive breakthrough in 2025? I feel like we fucked this one for 2024, honestly.
We did.
You and I were like, oh, easy, imminence.
We were really
Sleep Token
trying to call
numbers,
it.
like, yeah. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like, Imminence has done well, but it really fucks me that I thought they were this year's breakthrough metal band.
Well, I think it illuminates more how infrequent something like that happens.
I know, we talked about it. It's like we really thought we were gonna get like Spirit Box, Bad Omens, Sleep Token numbers back to back to back to back. And you know what? To be fair, a band like Imminence isn't terribly far away. They've seen a lot of success, and I don't want to undercut that. But I really thought we were gonna see like sellout O2 Academy announcements every July of every year for a new band moving forward. And it just feels like it didn't happen this year.
Not even specifically this year. It felt like it was at the point where it is now every year. This is a guarantee,
right?
Every single year.
Like I thought that was just like the speed we were moving at, and then like suddenly, you know who it is? You
Linkin
know who
Park?
it is? Yeah. Like that's our breakthrough. This new version of Linkin Park is our breakthrough band. Who would I like it to be? That's an interesting question. Let's underrated. Like who's fucking underrated right now that I'd like to see pop? I really sung the praises of that Wind Waker album when that dropped. I still feel really strongly about that band. I think they're really cool and experimental and fun. And I think there's a lot of potential there. House of Protection is a band that really fucking like caught me off guard this year. And then like in theory, I think Poppy's a song away. I think with the way Van performed and the way Suffocate performed, I think like if this next single from Poppy can find the same success that like those two tracks did for Knocked Loose and Bad Omens, then it might very well be worth saying it's Poppy's year.
Okay. If I had to say that there's an underrated band right now, I think it's like a full band type thing nowadays, but I think the project is still just Oliver Francis.
Okay.
Oliver Francis feels like one of the most underrated fucking talents that like steps in and out of our scene on a frequent enough basis. They released an album maybe a month ago called Violence. Oliver Francis is like responsible for one of my favorite songs of like, 2021, 2022, 2019. It's just an artist I've loved. The songs Toxic Paradise.
You're saying people have been sleeping for years.
Yeah, and these are all like scene adjacent songs. Oliver Francis has not always been like in this scene, like started primarily as a rap artist and still does a lot of that, but projects like Violence I think deserve way more love and credit in this scene.
Okay. That's a good choice. Marcus Scene Labs podcast asks, what are some examples of bands that you were able to experience before they blew up? For me, it was Dayseeker. I saw them perform to maybe 70 people and watched them get bigger and bigger every time. Hey, I'm not going to lie. I've also seen Dayseeker perform to 70 people, so that's a good one. Who's a band? I always think about bands that we saw. So the Palladium in Worcester is like our quote-unquote home venue, and they have an upstairs and a downstairs, and the downstairs is like fucking 3,000 people and the upstairs is like 300 people, right? So like it's always fun watching a band be there and then move downstairs. And like some of the bands we've seen play in the upstairs to like 300 people are like The Plot and You, Architects, Ice Nine Kills, and those are now all downstairs bands, right? Like they've all graduated. So like we saw them when it's like nobody was like super showing up for that shit, and now it's like packed, which is cool and exciting. Besides that,
I mean, so it depends on the year. I was going to say Architects because I remember seeing them in like 2013 or 14 at Warped, and it might have even been sooner. I forget exactly when, but like I remember being super excited because like in the corner of the stage we could also see like Ollie and one of the other members of Bring Me watching the band, and that like set in a little bit that these guys were like legit, maybe next big thing sort of band. I don't know, but yeah, then it took a good while after that, and I'm talking like well past like Lost Forever, even into All Our Gods Have Abandoned Us, for that band to really break and locally go from like an upstairs smaller capacity room to a much larger capacity downstairs room in that same venue.
Speaking of Warped Tour, it still kills me that we saw Chase Atlantic and now they're like an insanely popular like act.
Chase is actually the example. They opened and this album had an anniversary recently too, the Gossip Tour from Sleeping with Sirens back in like 17. We caught that. It was sick.
Insane though. It's like insane thinking of like where that band started and like the kinds of tours they're playing to like now being like full-blown headliners. So yeah, those feel like good examples. And then the one I always think of is like, and I feel like I've mentioned on the show a million times, but like seeing Red Jumpsuit Apparatus pay to like 20 people and then Face Down be like the song of the year like 3 months later was insane.
Crazy.
Brandon asks, love the band, but why is As It Is coming back? Being treated as a big return when they put out an album just 2 years ago. They didn't go anywhere.
2 years ago does not sound right.
I mean, that could be right. To Hell and Back? That could have been 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
You forgot about it, didn't you?
Oh.
You forgot about it.
Yeah, this is just, they were due to come back. I don't know what we're talking about.
I'm gonna be honest.
It's not the same as it is.
You are right, Brandon. You are right. But also, who cares? Like also like it's still kind of fun to just be like I kind of be like, I like when a band doesn't put out a song for like 8 months, I like to, like, when we write this show, I'm like, return with new single, right? Like, I know they weren't God, but like, I like to make a big deal out of it. I think part of the thing with As It Is that like, it's twofold. The first part is that we kind of got the impression that like this band was going to be put to bed forever. Right?
It's inflation though. Every band comes back way sooner than like My Chemical Romance did.
And then secondly, it was the members of the band that rejoined in this like return of As It Is.
That's
like,
the big asterisk.
it was
here.
seeing like Ben come back too. It was like, oh, it's like we're getting like this As It Is, which is kind of exciting.
the most familiar face version.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe like our ideal one. Andrew asked, would you rather face off against Michael or Jason? Mark, was a very spooky question.
I'm not scared of either. I'm not gonna lie. Well, actually, Michael
or Jason. They're so nearly identical, but in theory, Michael is human, so I guess I would say that as well.
yeah.
Like in theory. Melvin asks, final question this week. If you want to write into the show, SOTS podcast, patreon.com/SOTS podcast. If you had to pick up a kidnapped family member, what kind of songs are ending up on the playlist, Marcus? So, for starters, Patreon questions this week, absolutely fucking insane.
Why is it so unhinged?
A round of applause for our patrons for really showing up this week.
No.
Secondly, I guess the premise is that like you're on your way to like, I don't like exchange like a briefcase full of money for like your kidnapped family member, and you gotta set the vibes properly. What are you
like
playing?
the idea that like you are tied up somewhere in a basement.
Yeah. And you're connecting your Bluetooth
25
12 miles
to
away.
live, right. And I'm sitting there in the car like, I've been really meaning to check this song out and that track out. And I can't really.
I want to listen to this Make Them Suffer early. What was the password?
Skip, because this isn't
Let me
really.
text Sam for the pass. Oh, fuck.
This song's not really fitting the vibe for like what today kind of is all about type shit.
When you go to pick up a family member, do you feel like it's going to be sort of like a contentious moment? Do you feel like you have to like amp yourself up? Like,
so the way I interpreted this was more of like you are picking up you're already just gonna like you've already wired the money,
okay,
and now they're on the side of the road and you're pulling up and like you got to put some music on so the drive home's not that awkward.
No, this is the drive. If you had to, I feel like this is a drive to pick them up. I'm talking about like getting you into the mindset to exchange or reunite with a kidnap. Bro, this is what Melvin, what the fuck movie were you watching when you wrote this question? Where did this come from? Pick a random band.
Touche Amore.
Okay. Say anything. New music this week, Mark, was brought to you by Shibori Threads, the clothing label of the alternative music scene. Linkin Park have released new single, Heavy is the Crown.
This is what you want.
It's the second single the band has released since reforming following The Emptiness Machine from earlier this month, which has itself surpassed 100 million streams on Spotify since its release. This song, Heavy is the Crown, was released in conjunction with Riot Games as the official anthem for the League of Legends World Championship 2024. The song was accompanied by an animated music video created in partnership with the production company Eddie and made at Brunch Studio. The video was viewed in excess of 10 million times within its first day of release. Former LOL anthems are no strangers to the scene, with 2018's Rise featuring The Word Alive, 2019's Phoenix featuring Chrissy Costanza from Against the Current, 2020's Takeover featuring A Day to Remember vocalist Jeremy McKinnon, and 2021's Burn It All Down featuring Paris, before they pivoted to Lil Nas. As mentioned earlier in the show, Linkin Park have added 3 additional dates to their world tour in France, Texas, and Brazil. Linkin Park currently claim just over 56 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Rookie numbers. We're really hoping they can pump those.
Marcos, we got another brand new animated anime music video from Linkin Park. We're back!
Pinch me, it's 2003.
We're so back.
Do you, as an animator at the studio, like when you hear that this is going to be for Linkin Park music, like song,
I was about to feel because
is the pressure on at that point?
I have an associate's degree in graphic design. So I was like,
So yeah, that's
for a
right.
moment here, I was like, oh my God, Marcos, thank you. Yes. As an animator, I do think they did like a decent job. Like I would have made some changes.
You would have done
myself
like something a
personally.
little bit better.
Like,
right?
yeah, I would have done a little bit more of like a two-tone, like a...
Oh, yeah. Like something with like a little more contrast.
Yeah, like
maybe?
70 FPS, and then like use some chromatic colors.
Oh.
What was your question?
I'm saying, like, do you think the pressure is fucking on when you hear?
Oh, you're right, because
that
the
this
Breaking the
animated
Habit
music
video
video
exists?
has to be for an AMV for who? Oh, Linkin Park.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of crazy to me, this idea of like how many people knew like that Linkin Park were gonna get back together, and the only person to leak it was like one guy in an old new metal band accidentally on a radio
I need
station.
to see what those contracts look
'Cause
like.
it's like League of Legends knew, the fucking
League of
Eddie
Legends
knew,
knew.
Brunch Studio knew, all these fucking people knew.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The credits to this is probably like fucking 25 people who knew Linkin Park was gonna be all the fuck over this. Insane. So I'm sweating. I'm in the studio right now. I'm drawing up. I'm like crumpling up paper, throwing it away, crumpling up paper, throwing it away. I got like the Breaking the Habit video playing in the background. I was like, fuck. But I think they did a pretty good job, if I'm being honest with you, which to be fair, they do tend to do a pretty good job every year with these videos.
He doesn't actually stack up to those old AMVs, but it's a pretty great video. Awesome animation. And how do we feel about the new Linkin Park song? Sam?
I really enjoy it. So there are a couple like key points here. For starters, the band is represented in the music video, which I think is critically important to how well this song comes off. There's just something about like Han spinning records in like a medieval castle that sells it, or like Emily going like Super Saiyan with the fucking the crazy eyes and shit.
Yep.
Right before she, second thing, holds like a 16-second scream, because Linkin Park are heavy again.
They are.
Which is critical to this band's success, and to the memory of Linkin Park that they be
critical.
metal again. It's critical to me. It matters to me. It's important to me. I needed this band to pack a little bit of a punch, and they showed up and they fucking beat the shit out of me.
I mean, it sounds like Linkin Park, right?
There's like a little tag at the end of this song too, which is just like, it's got such a fucking Meteora like energy
electronica
to
type,
it.
yeah.
Like Meteora era energy. Everything about this is just like it the synergy is great. Like from this fucking anime music video to the fucking League of Legends bullshit to fucking like everybody's fighting with like, one guy's got like this thing that's got like, it's separated and it's like metal and it's got like fire in it, so it's like a fucking torch spear thing. It's crazy. I feel like there should be a part 2 to this video, which I guess would be the official World Championship 2024.
Play the game.
But I don't know fuck all about League of Legends except what I learned watching Arcade. So I don't know if I could really follow. New Metal and League of Legends feel like they go.
How
hand
does
in
it
hand, if I'm
stack
being
up
honest
against
with you. I
Rise?
think they go well together. I liked Rise. I didn't love Rise. I think this is far and away my favorite of all the ones I listed prior to this.
Okay.
And I think part of the reason is that it's like, I'm still really excited about the return of Linkin Park. I'm really excited that this sounds like a certain era of Linkin Park that I'm incredibly fond of, and that this is like just another song on the album. Like it's not like Rise by the Word Alive or Take Over featuring Jeremy McKinnon didn't make an album by like A Day to Remember or The Word Alive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is just straight up a song by Linkin Park that's going to be on the album, right? And now it's like I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to close my eyes a little bit. I'm going to see fucking Han up there with his fucking weird like long jacket shit, fucking spinning records like in a castle, and like Shinoda fucking minstrel pulls out a guitar for no reason and just starts playing that shit. And then Emily goes like fucking insane mode. It's like, it's cool. Like there's, like I said, a really beautiful synergy for all of this. And also, we should just get more fucking anime videos in general. Like, I'm sure they cost a fortune and they take forever to make, but I wish we got one of these, like, for every... It's like every band should have to release one anime video and their 6 singles.
This is... All right. I think you're out of...
Aren't you watching this and you're thinking, like, yeah, fuck, let me get a Spirit Box version of this, let me get a Bad Omens version of this, let me get an Einstein Kills version of this, like, let's go, dog.
Yes.
Like, when you kill for that shit... Like, is it prohibitively expensive to get one of these, or can we just can we dash the budget of every other video and just get one of these for every band? Like, we get a full Mary video game anime in the scene.
I think we got like a slightly similar video this week.
We kind of did, actually, and it ended up being really good. It's not this next one, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Paleface Swiss have dropped new song Hatred. album, Cursed, releases January 3rd. It's the follow-up to 2022's full-length album, Fear and Dagger. A short description of the album from the band's website, quote, Cursed is our third full-length album, a 30-minute ride of Switzerland's finest metal music, including an evolved sound with new compositions and lyrics. It's more personal than ever, end quote.
I love that you have to clarify there are new lyrics on this one.
Mm-hmm. And it's also the finest metal music from Switzerland, which is probably a low-key brag. And also, is Switzerland not like the home of like black metal? So like, I feel, or is that Norway?
It's high key a brag.
We're going to look up who metal bands are from Switzerland that got shaded on this. The band embarks on an EU/UK headlining tour starting late January of next year. Paleface Swiss currently stand at approximately 905,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Marcus, do you know how fucking crazy that is? Do you know how fucking crazy that this band is on their way to being a monthly listener band? For how fucking like aggressive and like heavy they are.
Right. They're not exactly radio friendly.
Right, precisely. Like this Paleface Swiss, like in terms of numbers, I feel like is right behind Lorna Shore in terms of popularity for like really extreme heavy bands in the alternative scene. Marcus, I want you to give your thoughts on this absolutely incredible music video while I look up Swedish metal bands.
This video's got a really interesting slow burn aspect to it where, and I mean, it might be the whole song. I actually didn't listen to the song separate of the music video, but there's like a 40 to 50 second like instrumental nursery rhyme in a foreign language.
Right, like the preamble
intro
to this is absolutely insane. Like Spanish horror folktale vibe leading all the way up to Paleface Swiss then just doing their thing, which is just screaming fuck like 5 times.
Hatred really 9 times in a row.
Yeah. And then also like singing faster than the speed of sound, which is like seemingly
Very
impossible
cool.
until you hear / watch it happen. Are you ready for fucking Swedish metal? Swedish is Switzerland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that Sweden?
Switzerland?
Or is that's
Swiss
Sweden?
is Switzerland?
Yeah, I fucked up. Switzerland metal
Are
bands.
we sure?
Oof, this is brutal. Nah, they don't stand a chance. Celtic Frost? The fuck
Get this shit out of here.
Dark Space?
Trash.
I don't even see one band I recognize. Zealand Ardor are not from Switzerland. Oh, shit. Zealand Ardor are from Switzerland? All right, I'll give them that one.
We've been new.
This is brutal, bro. Carnal Decay.
Heart Attack Man.
Dawnless, bro. These bands don't even exist. These are fake bands. Somebody just wrote up a bunch of fake bands on Fuck It. Paleface Swiss are like 25 bands down, which is like the most disrespectful shit I've ever seen.
Okay, so we are in the right country?
Yeah. Switzerland ain't got nothing. Like, I think Paleface Swiss is right. They are the finest metal music out of Switzerland. Like, somebody else has got to like take this as a challenge and step their shit up. And it's not going to be Celtic Frost. That's for goddamn sure.
Really excited for Cursed.
Absolutely fucking excited for Cursed. We loved I don't think Fear and Dagger was a perfect album. If I remember correctly, it was like 47 songs long and it was like a little like much, but when it hit. And I think some of the singles that they've had since have been even better than that album, which makes me really excited for this new up and coming album. Combined with the strength of this individual single. Grayscale have released new single, Let Go.
So let go. Feel it's changing my brain now. 'Cause I'm finally seeing straight. Walking out of the haze now. Not loving myself.
New album, The Heart, drops January 31st and will feature previous singles Summer Clothes, Not Afraid to Die, and Mum 2. It's the follow-up to 2021 full-length album, Umbra. The band released the following statement in regards to the new record. Marcos, brace yourself. This is 25 paragraphs long. I'm going to do my best to, rip through it, and you just mentally cachet anything you think is important. Quote, our fourth album, The Heart, will be released January 31st, 2025.
Oh, that's important.
Is the longest amount of time we've ever taken between records, and it's the longest amount of time we've ever spent working on a single album. In that time, we've experienced quite a lot, not only as individuals, but also as friends, a collective unit. Addictions, deaths, losing our religion, finding it again, and pulling each other out of, and sometimes through, all the grief that came along with it. It was the most painful period of our lives as humans, and yet it is the closest we've ever been. Things change as you grow older, but at the same time, they kind of don't change at all. We've known each other for most of our lives at this point and have been able to count on each other no matter what since the day we met. But this is not a record about nostalgia. It's about growth, facing the very real and difficult parts of life, dealing with pain and overcoming it all spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It is about healing. It is a collection of real-life stories through real-life events. Through all of this, our hunger to find the best version of our band went deeper than it ever has. We'd grown bored and uninspired to the majority of music that was coming out. Everything sounded the same, even to ourselves. Everything we had been writing all started to sound the same. So we stripped it all down to the studs. Back to the same basement we wrote songs in when we were 14. We reminded ourselves of why we fell in love with music as kids. The art and the craft of it, the struggle and the reward of it, the way we could speak to one another and connect in a room through it without words. We channeled all of the personal pain we were experiencing in the room with the sole purpose of making the most authentic, genuine, and vulnerable art that we could make. Writing about who we are and what we've been through, we were going to name this record The Heart. Now, important note aside, the album name is The Heart, H-A-R-T. The band were going to name the record The Heart, H-E-A-R-T. Continuing on. It felt like a more meaningful name than the record being self-titled, but still holding the same sentiment. Hart, H-A-R-T though, is the maiden name of one of our grandmothers. It's a name that was carried by a strong Irish Catholic woman, someone who represented who we are and how we grew up, someone who loved to laugh and loved to fight, someone who was truly herself, someone from the same bloodline. After all, this record was quite literally made through blood, sweat, and tears with each other. Heart is being there at a moment's notice when your friend's parent is dying. Heart is, I hate you right now, but I'm not going anywhere because I love you. It's the real love, the deep kind that you only get to share with a small handful of people in a lifetime. We're lucky we have it with each other. We're lucky we have all of you. From the Heart, H-A-R-T, Grayscale. The band will be playing on the Maine's A123 Fest this upcoming January alongside Bat Sons, Diva Bleach, Veronica Everhart, and more. Grayscale currently holds 250,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Mark, so I'm going to take a massive swig of water. Go ahead and speak.
I think the most important part of this entire press release is that this album may never have existed had whoever's parents moved out of that house where the original album's basement was written in.
I mean, that's the butterfly effect, right? Like, there's a million little things that could change the entire trajectory of your life. Like, maybe you go to, you miss a class, you never make friends with the guy who ends up being the bassist in Grayscale, your band. Like, who could say, right? Your grandmother wasn't Irish. She was, Italian.
Right.
Changes everything.
What is heart in Italian?
I want to say corazon, but that's obviously
it's
like
not.
Spanish. But is it like amore?
Amore.
Hartore.
This is so close to be calling amore. Couple of butterfly wing flaps away.
I loved Umbra.
Umbra was the fucking bomb because I think there was a song called The Bomb. Dirty Bomb.
There was a song called Dirty Bomb on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was sick.
Umbra was very strong. For me, it was like an album that really won me back after Nella Vita was kind of a disappointment because Adornment, I think, is maybe one of the best debut records of all time, honestly.
And this is written in the same basement. This new album.
And this is written in the same basement, which is critically important. We didn't talk at all about Let Go, Marcus. How did you feel about that as a song?
I mean, I think the more surprising thing is I forgot that this band's like, this is 4 songs in now.
Yeah, they've been like quietly amassing a handful of singles.
I remember like really enjoying Mum 2. And
Mum 2 is absolutely phenomenal. It might be the best song this band has ever written.
And then I forgot that this, like, Let Go felt like this band finally coming back after years and years away.
Yeah.
I don't know why it did, but it felt that way. And so with that in mind, I feel like I don't really remember any of the other songs prior to Let Go.
It's curious that this band has gone independent. This will not be on Fearless Records. This will be self-released through their own, I guess, label or no label at all. Yeah. Which I do think is a curious choice.
You think Lucky Records is already taken?
Probably, yeah, actually.
Okay,
I think that actually,
Lucky
that one
Swiss?
feels a little Heart Records, maybe. Like, do you just go ahead and like anoint your label by the first album that you drop on it? Hard to say, Marcus. They said so much during this press release. It all kind of like blends together a little bit for me. I mean, it seems that obviously there's a huge emotional like gravity.
Yeah,
to this
I don't have
record
the emotional maturity to get into any.
I
of
feel like
that.
I need to hear the album and then revisit this statement to see if it translates in the same way for me. You know, I think Mum 2 is probably the thing that like sells it the most in terms of like marrying what they're saying here to like one of the songs I've heard.
Yeah.
Let Go's fun. You know, it's in the same vein as a lot of like what we've seen from pop punk bands lately in terms of like really upbeat but very short catchy tunes, like in and out in like 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I think the video was like slightly underwhelming, but I'm still relatively optimistic for this album.
I do like the end of this press release and discussing why it was heart and not heart.
Yeah, yes, because otherwise you'd be like, why did you do that?
No, not even. Like, I'm just acknowledging that that is a very sweet decision to make with
to name it after
with
their
what
grandmother.
it being like after a grandmother's maiden name, and
I agree.
some of the context as to why they appreciated that woman. And
It gives it
all
much
that.
more gravitas.
Yeah.
Marcos, Ben Quad have dropped new single, Your Face as an Effigy. New EP Ephemera releases October 25th via Pure Noise Records and will include previous single You'll Get Nothing and Like It. It will follow up 2022 EP I'm Scared That's All There Is. Ben Quad shared the following on the new song. Quote, lyrically, this is the most open-ended on the EP. The song is about finding solidarity within the group you identify with and overcoming the deceivers who seek to ruin you. The music video highlights the concept of solidarity by focusing on the brotherhood aspect of the band. The political undertones of the song title were purposeful in the sense that we wanted to paint a picture of overcoming a system that seeks to destroy us, unquote. The band will be supporting Prince Daddy and the Hyena starting this October alongside Cliff Diver.
The names on this tour.
Fucking goddamn it! There was another band on this tour too. I feel like it cut me off. Marcus, what do you think of this song, please?
I feel like I have been blissfully ignorant of who Ben Quad has been this whole time.
I've seen this name floating around a lot with a lot of positive buzz, so I was excited to like jump in with this new song once I saw that they had dropped a video.
And I think for us,
was
it's
not disappointed.
A pretty cool starting point. Yeah, I actually definitely see a lot of the appeal and understand much of the hype that is currently surrounding this band, and I think that this was a very impressive song, and I am eager to hear the CP now.
Heart to Gold is also on that tour. I think what really sold me about this is the energy of this music video. It reminds me of very specifically like the energy that like Man Overboard brought to like their music videos, where it was like grabbing the camera, being, I think it's almost like because there was an exact like Man Overboard video where they're always like walking directly at the camera for the entirety of the video and they're like yelling at it. And that's kind of like how this starts. And it's really fun. Well, actually, no, technically it starts almost like a weird A24 movie before it then turns into a pop punk band like grabbing the fucking camera and like yelling at it. This band just has such a fucking like weird energy all around. They're terribly difficult to pinpoint. I was watching this for the first time and I'm like, all right, let's check out the new fucking whatever Midwest emo fucking pop punk everyone's going crazy about. And then all of a sudden they start ripping these like weird guitar solos and I'm like, all right. And then like there's fucking screaming and shit and I'm like, oh, nobody said this was post. Nobody told me this was post hardcore. Had they told me it was post hardcore, I would have been there sooner. And I was very excited for it overall. I love this band's energy. I like what they're doing. I think they're interesting and I'm excited for it. And I love Cliff Diver and I love Heart to Gold. And now I like Ben Quad. It makes me think that maybe I should take some time to check out Prince Daddy and the Hyena. Any familiarity?
None at all. I was thinking that I want to check out that last EP from Ben Quad.
Also probably not a terrible idea. Also Ben Quad, I'm pretty sure, is jumping on a tour supporting Microwave after that. So a lot of bands that they're sort of like within like a circle of things I like.
I'm liking who they walking with, all right?
Yeah, they keep good company.
Yes.
Soul Keeper have dropped new single Time Out of Mind. The band also announced they're signing to Pure Noise Records and will be reissuing their debut album, Holy Design, first self-released back in May of 2023. This new single is from the original release of that album. Guitarist Scott Gilmore shared the following on the reissue. Quote, I'm very excited about it because we all put a ton of effort into the process of making it. I'm not saying I don't think it got enough recognition because I'm definitely grateful for how well it did, but we can only go so far by ourselves. So I'm glad it'll get heard by a new audience. I think if people hear it and they're familiar with the subgenre, they're going to be a fan. We're very excited for it to reach people it wouldn't normally reach. End quote. The band will be supporting Unity, Texas on tour starting this week alongside Silly Goose and Mugshot. Soulkeeper currently have just over 10K monthly listeners on Spotify.
Reissue is a fun way of saying deluxe, is it not?
There's no deluxe. I think it's literally the same album. So like, again, I know I called this a new single, but it's like just the first time they're releasing a song from that album as a single, right? So this song was on the original release, but it wasn't a single. Now it's a single to sort of kick off the reissue of that album. Whether it has additional songs, I guess I'm not entirely positive, but I didn't see them state anywhere that it did.
I mean, you don't see this often, and I guess for that reason alone, I'm kind of a fan. I believe this was a album that did not hit our radar when it released, so I'll check this out now.
Like I saw this. The problem is that like so many band names are like practically adjacent to each other, minus like one adjective or like 3 letters. So it's like I see Soulkeeper and I'm like, am I thinking of that band or am I thinking of a band who just has like an insanely similar name, of which metalcore tends to do a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the most important aspect of this, which is the music video, which is absolutely fucking... This
It's
music video
fucking
stands
cool.
toe and toe with that League of Legends music video. I'm not even fucking around.
Made for a fraction of the budget, I am sure. Takes place in The Matrix with Final Fantasy VII original graphics. Style graphic. It's
PlayStation
really cool.
era graphics. So
And
the band is playing like in like the digital realm, right? When all of a sudden a killer dressed exactly like Anthony Fantano shows up to murder one band member at a time in like explicit ways, like hitting them with a car, stabbing them with a knife, or blasting them with a shotgun. The shotgun one is so fucking crazy. It's like kind of scary. I'm like, run, bassist. But it's like the animation is so fucking well done. Like it's so kinetic. Like I really like I feel the impact of it.
hold on. Was it the Soul Keeper in the video? Because like at the very end emerges from the machine with like some like Power Rangers version of like every single member like on their
like Mecha Soul
arm,
Keeper.
leg, head. Yeah. Did he collect their souls?
I mean, presumably. I can't say for sure, right? But obviously there's like a lot of underlying meaning here. There's a lot of lore.
The Breakdown.
Things Are Different Now by Rain City Drive. Key bullets here at the top. Rain City Drive are a rock outfit out of Florida's Palm Coast that technically formed a long while ago, but we really only kind of count 2019 and onwards.
This is like Linkin Park. This is a new version of Rain City Drive, who were named something else before.
The band have been signed to Thriller Records since 2021. Things Are Different Now is their third studio album that released the 27th of September, meaning if you are hearing me speak these words this very instant, it's out right now anywhere you stream music.
You know what's fucking nuts? That this is Rain City Drive's third album.
Interrupted
I'm
me?
sorry. It's just crazy that this is Rain City Drive's third album.
Well, technically the first one was still released under Slaves.
Oh, fuck. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's important thing to note.
The album has a number of credited producers, including Eric Ron, Daniel Brostein, Zach Baker, and Zach Tuck. Baker has credits with bands like You Me at 6 and Nothing But Thieves. Tuck recently worked with bands like Knocked Loose and last year with Heart Attack Man.
Marcus, I'm writing the pop album of the year. Can you give me the guy who did Knocked Loose?
Right. Things Are Different Now is the follow-up to 2022's self-titled LP. A little something something from the band's press release, and brace yourself, this one's actually a bit long too. And I quote, "I've been writing songs since I was 15 years old, so I think in many ways it's always been how I've helped to understand myself and the world." Vocalist Matt McAndrew explains, "I've had people throughout my life say, wow, kudos for being so vulnerable, but I've never known anything else." He continues, "Songwriting for me is exploratory. It's kind of like I'm wandering around my subconscious and grabbing at thoughts, questions, and emotions. I'm building a puzzle in real time, but there's no picture on the back of the box to guide me." Fucking good ass quote right there, by the way.
No picture on the back of the box. I mean, that is a good ass
Right?
quote.
It's often not until it's complete that I am able to stand back from it and really understand it. Inspiration strikes from anywhere and at any time. Things Are Different Now single Never Bloom was sparked from its title, the phrase stirring up such strong emotions within McAndrew that it led to him writing about the death of his father, which took place a decade ago, for the very first time, writing about that. Album opener Lose My Composure similarly sees McAndrew write about the loss of a close friend after a memory returned to him as he gazed out the car window on the way to the studio. Elsewhere, Elusive Dream, another song on this record, began with McAndrew's experiences of a sort of sleep paralysis I suffer from, a hallucinatory state between being asleep and awake I often fall into. I like that he just describes sleep paralysis here.
Right.
Not to make light of that. A recent breakup, meanwhile, gave him enough material for 10 more songs alone. Every
You'd
Day
think
of
this
Life.
whole album was about that.
Exactly. Every Day of Life can be song-worthy, he nods. Just, again, a really great quote. Matt McAndrew, a very quotable guy.
Extremely quotable guy.
Unlike his bandmates, McAndrew's teeth were cut not on the biggest stages of the alternative rock scene, or tour, but in front of the TV cameras on The Voice, where McAndrew's music theory education blossomed under the tutelage of Maroon 5 frontman Adam Levine. His success on the show brought him an illusion of fame. Millions of fans would watch him on TV every week, with crowds turning up to meet him at airports. He's quoted here as saying, "I had all the fame, but none of the success." It also mentions he's from New Jersey, but grew up on the beach and surfing and,
Well, they
and
hate to see a
skateboarding.
bitch from New Jersey winning.
Right? He was this close to being in My Chemical Romance.
Close enough. Welcome back, Gerard Way.
I was very proud of my accomplishments because of the show, releasing my own music and playing some wonderful shows in huge venues, but the trajectory of that experience by its very nature is downward. When the bubble burst, I was left to pick up the pieces, and I didn't have a moment to waste.
You know, for what it's worth, I really, if ever, tend to indulge in like pop music the way that I maybe used to 15 to 20 years ago. But I think overall, it's kind of a rarity for shows like The Voice or American Idol to really spit out people who tend to break through in a big way.
Name every other runner-up on The Voice.
Right, but part of me wonders, this is kind of like I'm almost pushing it back at you, hoping that maybe you know a little bit better than me, if there is an artist from like The Voice or American Idol in the last like 10 years that you can think of off the top of your head that really did break through in a major way.
No, just because I'm not that engaged in those shows specifically.
Okay, but I feel like had they, then they may have come across like your listening habits sooner than they would have mine, but it seems to be that that's not the case.
Yeah, unless it's someone I'm unaware of, but like unaware of while still listening to
Within
them.
our space,
Yeah.
it's like insanely rare, right? Like that Matt McAndrew ended up fronting Rain City Drive is like such a again, that butterfly effect, right? Of like the idea that like KT Thrash from Escape the Fate told him that Slaves needed a new vocalist, which would later then transform into this project. It's like, what are the fucking chances? You know what I mean?
Inspired by a diverse range of songwriters, a lifelong love of Bob Dylan and Modest Mouse's Isaac Brooke, coupled with a fascination for the world building of Radiohead's Thom Yorke and the emotional inflection of Bring Me the Horizon's Ollie Sykes, McAndrew uses Things Are Different Now to exhibit the full scope of his craft, spitting lyrics and the boast Lyrics that boast cut-through reliability and vivid imagery wrapped in enthralling metaphor. No ideas off the table when it comes to Rain City Drive, says guitarist Colin Vieira. There is definitely a sense that the five of us challenge each other, that the different influences and ideas that we each bring in such a way that pushes us all to try new things. Every day, that makes us a better band that reinforces what Rain City Drive is. It's incredibly inspiring, and I'm such a fan of every single person in this band, and Rain City Drive wouldn't sound how we do or be who we are if it wasn't for that creativity and freedom. I think we learn more about what Rain City Drive truly is with every song and every album, McAndrew adds. We're always stretching ourselves further, growing, and revealing a new side to us. All of which means Rain City Drive's time is now. And for McAndrew and Vieira, that comes not a minute too soon. Things really are indeed different now, and ever more sure of who they truly are. The idea of looking back and pausing for breath is anathema.
Anathema.
Which is a word I am just learning how to pronounce.
Anathema.
Is it anathema?
Anathema.
How often have you used anathema in your daily life?
Maybe like a few times a day. Maybe.
The different journeys we've all been in on our careers have brought us to this moment, to Rain City Drive, to each other, and we're playing to win. It's a good press release.
A strong press release. All right, let's go ahead and rank the press release.
All right. Let's talk about the album, Sam.
Okay, wow, you're not even gonna try at I had to give it like a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was solid, but maybe nothing crazy.
The press release.
That would be the press release, of course, not the album itself, which I think is actually pretty spectacular. If I'm being honest.
I think this might be my favorite Rain City Drive record.
Now that's tough because that last one was also very good. Rain City Drive, in the 2 albums in which they have adopted that moniker, has been very, very strong.
They have since gone back and renamed the To Better Days album as a Rain City Drive release, just to be clear.
Interesting, but it's very hard. It's very hard to be like, okay, what's the best Rain City Drive album? Let's compare the one with Johnny Craig as the vocalist versus the one with Matt McAndrew as the vocalist. They just feel so dramatically different to me at this point. It's almost like, just draw the line. The fact that they changed their name, I think, is good enough to me as a hard reset, and I might as well just treat them as another band, even though if I'm looking for that first Slaves album, I'm going to find it under Rain City Drive's page, right? This is a strong release, no doubt. So the day that we're actually reviewing this, we got an official music video and single release for Wish You the Best, which joins Medicate Me, Over Me, and Frozen as singles.
And Never Bloom and Concrete Closure.
Oh, shit. Did I miss a couple along the way?
Yeah. Well, so I cut myself off at Concrete Closure, so I'd heard Medicate Me, Over Me, Frozen, because I didn't want my experience to be like with the last Rain City Drive album.
You didn't want it sully. You didn't want it fully spoiled. Yeah. Right. So it's an absolute murderer's row of fucking singles that starts this album. And they're incredibly impressive ones. So Medicate Me has been a breakthrough throughout the year. We talk a lot about bands who have blown up in the scene this year, and we'll be like, oh shit, man. Knock Loose are just having an absolutely extraordinary year. Knock Loose have just about put out the same numbers as Medicate Me has, featuring Rory Rodriguez of Dayseeker. So in a sense, quietly, Rain City Drive is having as big a breakthrough year as any other scene band that we discuss on this show.
Yeah.
And it's really impressive because it feels like it fully came out of nowhere. I remember seeing that Medicate Me was in the top 50 viral Spotify songs and in the top 20 of those 50 and couldn't fucking believe it. I don't know what happened that this song just gained an insane traction and people really sort of glommed onto it, but it's great to see. And it's really fulfilling when a band that we sing the praises on this show of constantly finally has a level of success that you feel they've been deserving of.
Listen, there's a reason that on the audio show on the set, we have the Rain City Drive road sign behind us.
That's a good point.
Constantly. We love this band.
What's crazy though is that I'd put songs like Over Me and Frozen right up there with Medicate Me in terms of like how good of a song and a single it is. So it could have been any of those songs that absolutely broke through, and I would think, yeah, it deserved it actually.
Real quick, I'm really appreciative that Frozen did indeed make this, like, the cut for this record.
Yeah, I agree too, because I feel like it was released sort of like far in advance of when this album was announced, and then since came out.
By now, like a year ago is when it came out.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I think we talked about recently, like, another example of this happening, but it's not always a guarantee that it will. And at this
It's
point,
a real
I'm
roll of the
happy-
dice.
Yeah, I'm happy when an album like that does still find its way, like, find a home on a record that eventually comes out, right?
Agreed. I think overall, Rain City Drive kind of do exactly what they did with the last album, which you could take as a criticism if you'd like, I guess. I don't think we're experimenting or breaking the bounds of what people have come to expect from this band. I think they deliver candy. I think this is the scene's answer to modern pop. I think Rain City Drive feeds you really great hooks and really good sing-alongs, and I would say relatively easy rhyme schemes. I don't think what Rain City Drive does is complicated, but I think what they do exceedingly well. Like, I don't think it's easy to write songs that are as catchy as something like Over Me or Medicate Me, or I would say fucking Concrete Closure or Lose My Composure. It's practically every fucking song on this album, to be honest with you.
Well,
there's like two songs that I think are slightly more like different than everything else that comes before it, but go ahead.
I mean, the two things I wanted to clarify is, like, if every band could write shit this catchy, they'd be doing that.
Sure, absolutely.
So there's talent there. And as far as, like, maybe rhyme scheme goes, I don't disagree. I think lyrically, this is the best this band has ever been.
It like has its
There's
moments.
some fucking impressive parts on here that I do not remember this band always being that dependable with.
I do agree that it has like flashes of brilliance, but I do think they're also sort of intertwined with moments of like incredibly familiar metaphors.
It's okay. I was overall impressed with the lyrics, though, in a way that I haven't been with their previous releases under this
Matt
name.
McAndrew can be very clever in like a twist of words.
Sure.
And I do appreciate that.
What I
They're
also
also-
wanted to say is I think they operate within their bag in a way, because I do think that this band is filled with very talented people. And I think Matt McAndrew is one of the best singers that has ever graced this scene. And he could easily just constantly go, turn it up to 11 and give us the craziest vocal display in the world. But instead, this band just writes consistent songs, right? Like, they're not trying to just throw things at the wall for the sake of doing it. They're still writing something very cohesive consistently.
I think one of the more instrumentally interesting songs on here is Disarm the Hourglass, which has like this really neat little synth bit that I think really made it stand out amongst the pack. And I think my favorite song on here, and maybe one of my favorite songs of the year personally, is Elusive Dream, which has this chorus that like does a shift halfway through and somehow becomes even catchier in the process. This is one of like 4 songs this year that like I hit that point on the album and I ran it back, and then I ran it back, and then I ran it back. And it has been rare this year that I think I become fully obsessed with a song the moment I hear. Like, I feel like I can count it on one hand.
I actually couldn't believe what I was hearing for the last stretch of this record, because this band suddenly at track 8, Aware, turns into like a legitimate 2009 post-hardcore band to wrap this album.
I will say that, to push back a little bit, I think Aware for me is the singular miss on this album.
Nah, hard disagree on that.
Personally didn't connect for me. But from 9 forward, I'm 100% in agreement with you.
Disarm the Hourglass is like this weird mixture of like Idola and something you would hear from I don't know, a band in like 2009, like the breakdown at the end of Sacrifice, between that and like the end of Medicate Me, some of the heaviest bits this band has ever written are on this record in a way that's just refreshing. Not that I don't go to Rain City Drive for like something heavy. So like when you get it and it is unexpected, it does make it kind of a highlight of the song itself.
It felt as if it was clear that this band was sort of like fully moving on into more of the pop sphere in terms of their sound. So for them to at least add a little bit of spice there towards the end was refreshing, especially listening to this album. And it made me think, okay, maybe Rain City Drive has a few tricks up their sleeve that I haven't, been able to fully like wrap my head around yet. Sacrifice in particular, I think, is a good call out as being one of these songs where it's like, not the traditional closer that I would have expected, and it's actually a really exciting send-off, the way that it kind of builds and builds again.
Yeah, a little bit more storytelling like we got on a couple of songs on that last record too. I think that this band really brings their A game. I was super happy with this record. It's going to be in rotation for a very long time. The reason I think I mentioned earlier that it's my favorite Rain City Drive album is I think from the onset, I just think this one clicks for me the most. Meaning that with repeated listens, I just expect it to keep digging its claws deeper and deeper into me, right?
I can definitely see what you're saying there, because I easily listened to this 5 times within like a 3-hour period. So definitely go check that out. Also, now, Thriller Records.
We barely touched on it. Never Bloom is an absolutely fucking gorgeous song.
I couldn't believe
gorgeous song.
I couldn't believe that was a single. I don't know how I missed it, because like I heard this song and I was like, for me, it's like we got past Frozen and hit Never Bloom, and I'm like, all right, let's see what this band really has up their sleeve. You know what I mean? And like immediately I was like fixated with Never Bloom.
But yeah, out now on Thriller Records. It is incredible. Rain City Drive fucking rule. And their tour starts like tonight or some shit. They're headlining like all through the end of October.
Yeah, that's crazy tour.
They're probably coming to your city.
Fucking who's on that?
Nightlife.
But the direct Belmont is like direct
Belmont's
support. It was
direct
fucking
support.
crazy. And I want to say, no, I'm not positive, so I don't want to say. It'll have been like 3 days. This album has been out by the time you're hearing it. So by the time you're hearing this episode, so let us know in the comments what you think of it. We'll be back in a week. Once again, if anything happens on Friday, pretend it didn't. We love you guys. Bye.
Good play.